Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our Sabbath class, the 4th of November, 2023. The discussion inside the room is who is Zepho? We're going to find out who that is and place in where he's supposed to be placed in the scriptures and its significance. Okay. Uh, you can go to our YouTube channel, to Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have a lot of videos on the channel. I think it's something like 700. And these videos connect a lot of dots for you if you're seeking the truth. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to hit the like button, and share and subscribe to the channel. And if you feel a need to support the channel, we have a cash app at the bottom of the screen. Okay. With that being said, this is a non-Messianic channel. And by that, we mean we deal with the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah, first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, Sabbath. Okay, so we have some technical difficulties. I don't know what it is. We'll pick up where I left off at. Um, Oh Lord, you have given us insight into our scriptures of our holy fathers. And you, O Lord, have directed us to who you are and your role in the goings on of heaven and earth. When we come this Sabbath day, doubtless that you will appear, and that you will gather your nation from among these wicked Gentiles. O Lord, you spoke through your prophet Isaiah and said that you would help Abraham's seed, that you are scattered. And you have completed that promise after this day. And you said, O Lord, that you would remove the darkness from around us. Tarry not, O Lord, for the latter days are here. We are waiting and watching for you, O Lord. Peace be on you. Okay. So with that being said, I want to read the Psalms. Okay. I'm going to read Psalms 91. God is a refuge and a fortress. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for arrow that flieth by day, nor for pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh unto thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plagues come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet. Okay? Because he has set his love upon thee, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. So we see right there, that was Psalm 91. It's God is my refuge and my fortress. And so I want to shine a light on something right quick. It says, verse 5, thou shalt not be afraid for terror by day, nor for arrow that flies by night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor for thy pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. So he says that 1,000 will fall by thy side, 10,000 by thy right hand, but nothing shall come nigh unto thee. So then this is the point I was making. You hear me say this all the time. All you have to do is wait and watch. And so verse 8 says, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. So it's no different than Psalm 37, when it says the green bay tree. Though the wicked spread itself like a green bay tree, just keep watching. And then he's going to disappear. It's going to look like he's prospering, but he's going to do something with him. And how that works is, I was telling you that, you got the Lord of hosts, you got these angels, right? It says 10, there shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plagues come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee into the way. So how you gonna lose? And like I said, you sitting there, you fighting against. When you understand that you're fighting against angels, somebody come your way and bring evil your way, or do something, follow you, angels gonna handle it. You just keep on doing what you're doing. Watch it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So,
Shalom.
okay. So with that being said, we go to some current events. Okay.
Also shot down drones in a similar strike against a Yemeni organization sponsored by Iran in retaliation for the Hamas conflict. The IDF claims there is no threat or harm to civilians. Welcome everyone. In today's video, we're going to tell you Yemen launched ballistic missiles on Israel. In the first operational application of the long-range system during the conflict with Hamas, the IDF announced on Tuesday that the Air-to-Air defense system successfully intercepted a surface-to-surface missile fired from the Red Sea area toward Israel. But before we proceed to further video, if you're new to this channel, remember, go ahead and hit the bell icon to subscribe, so you won't miss the informative videos we will upload in the future. The ballistic missile was thought to have been fired against the southern city of Eilat by the Houthis in Yemen, who are supported by Iran. Air Force systems followed the missile's trajectory and intercepted it at the most optimal operational moment and location, according to a statement from the Israel Defense Forces. Images captured the Arrow missile smoke path, and locals claim to have heard a loud explosion. According to the IDF, fighter jets shot down 2 more hostile targets in the early morning that were reportedly drones flying over the Red Sea. Every threat was stopped outside of the state of Israel's borders. The IDF said no breach into Israeli territory was found. The missile and several other recent attempted strikes on southern Israel were attributed to the Houthi rebels in Yemen, who are supported by Iran. Yemenis assemble for prayers in Sana'a, the capital city under Houthi rule, with some of them carrying the Palestinian flag. A representative for the group, Yahya Sriya, stated that the aerial attack, which included drones and ballistic and cruise missiles, was executed out of a sense of religious moral, humanitarian and national responsibility for the Gaza population, given the fragility of the Arab world and the cooperation of certain Arab nations with Israel. The demands of the Yemeni people were the driving force behind the operation. He continued. Syria declared that this was the group's 3rd attack on Israel since the war's beginning and promised to launch more missile and drone strikes on Israel. The Prime Minister of the Houthi government, Abdulaziz bin Habtour, declared earlier on Tuesday that these drones belong to the state of Yemen. Along with Hamas, which is also supported by Tehran, the Houthis, who took over the capital of Yemen in 2014 and now rule huge portions of the nation, are part of the axis of resistance against Israel. They are waging war against Israel using words and drones. He continued. After the missile attack, the IDF declared early on Wednesday morning that air defense forces had intercepted another, an aerial danger that was spotted in the Red Sea area, south of Eilat. The military went on to say that no infiltration of Israeli land was recognized, and that there was no danger to people, although they did not say what was intercepted. The declaration was made soon after a loud explosion was heard by Eilat residents, and footage from the city beside the Red Sea revealed an interceptor missile. There were no siren-sounding warnings. It was the most recent of several assaults believed to have been carried out by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, raising fears that Israel's conflict with Hamas, which was ignited by the terror group's deadly strike on October 7, would expand to other months. Morning, there were reports of suspected drone infiltration in Eilat. At first, the IDF claimed to have located an aerial target that was moving toward Israeli land. Later on, it was revealed that 2 targets, possibly drones launched from Yemen, had been intercepted by fighter jets. On November 24, 2021,
Okay, so we see right here that Yemen entered the civil war against Israel. Every day somebody else new is entering into this conflict. Okay. Any comments? Okay, last night I had on Clubhouse, I kind of introduced this Project 2025. I want to bring it up again because so it'll be on our Prophets of Awakening platform. Okay.
The bill for universal background checks need your signature to push this through. This is easy. This should be easy. Plan laid out by a Project 2025. Crackpots, insurrectionists, and weekend terrorists are laying the groundwork to turn our government into a Trumpist nightmare if the former president somehow manages to get back into the White House in 2024. The AP reports on the plan laid out by a Project 2025, a government in waiting for Trump's return. Quote, the idea is to have the civic infrastructure in place on day one to commandeer, reshape, and do away with what Republicans deride as the deep state, firing as many as 50,000 federal workers. The goal is to oust employees they believe are standing in the way of the president's agenda and replacing them with like-minded individuals. That should sound familiar since it's directly linked to Donald Trump's authoritarian plans overall. The New York Times reported in July that Trump and his associates have a broader goal to alter the balance of power by increasing the president's authority over every part of the federal government that now operates by either law or tradition with any measure of independence from political interference by the White House. Numerous former Trump officials are involved with Project 2025, and look, it's not some shadowy behind-the-scenes effort. It's been open about its plans to gut worker protections and dismantle environmental protections. It includes their plans to make pushing right-wing Christianity the federal government's job. It's all in there, in the nearly 1,000-page playbook calling on the next president to maintain a, quote, biblically based social science reinforced definition of marriage and family. As Guthrie Graves Fitzsimmons writes for MSNBC, concerned about policies of this kind aren't only about the possible return of Donald Trump to office. This is about the next Republican president, whoever it may be, is going to be pushing Christian nationalism. Joining me now is David Korn, Washington bureau chief for Mother Jones, MSNBC political analyst, and author of American Psychosis, which comes out on paperback next week. David, I always say that the most dangerous people when it comes to protecting our government, it ain't the guys in shaman costumes, right? It's not the weekend warriors with Punisher signs on their flak jackets that they got at REI. Okay, it's men and women in suits who write policy, who slowly but surely undermine our government. Put this Project 2025 in the frame. How dangerous is this?
Well, let me expand from that a little bit, because a lot of people watch, a lot of people concerned about authoritarianism in America focus on Donald Trump.
Right.
And I think rightfully so. He incited violence. He says we should suspend the Constitution. And as we just saw, he has his own campaign plan to impose an autocratic, government should he got back into the White House. But what we see with Project 2025 is a project funded at $22 million
right.
that has dozens of right-wing, far-right groups that have been in town and that are considered established right-wing organizations, like the Heritage Foundation. They've been doing something like this since 1980. Their first mandate for leadership was for the Reagan folks when they were coming in. And so now they have joined forces with Trump to sort of say, this is how you can do it. We know that Trump isn't capable himself.
Right.
He doesn't have the discipline, the understanding of how government works. So here we have, dozens of groups, hundreds of people, millions of dollars to put together a schematic plan for Trump to come in. And at the heart of it is getting rid of 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 or more federal workers. These are the people who, like, if the president comes in and says, I want to drill on the mall, they say they're a career civil servant. They go, that's not what the law says, Mr. President. This is why you can't do this. The sign says that. Well, now under this plan, Trump would say, You're out of here.
Right.
You know, there's a loyalty oath. There's an oath.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? I got another version of that. I think I need to hear.
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. You know, I went in last night and you know, doing some research on this because I wasn't really, you know, familiar with it. I have heard of it, but had not done much research on it, right? So again, it goes back to they are assigning what they call scholars, right? Like I think it was like 400 scholars, right? And policy experts, right, to say what's going to happen around the country, right? So they're saying this is being done because it's either going to be greatness or failure. It's not going to be both, right? So, you know, like they said, they have 180 days to get this going, right? And to put anything in place. So 2025 is going to be the year to really watch.
Right. So when you look at that, that's a year from now, because this time next year the election gonna be going on, and then right after that, the 2025 come in, and so the plan on that is, if you know anything about politics, what defines a president is his first 100 days, and that's what they're talking about. The first 100 days of whether it's Reagan. I mean, whether it's, well, they already did it before with Reagan and Nixon, but whether it's Trump or Santos or either whatever, whoever the Republican person is, that's the plan they got. They're gonna come in and, like they say, gut out to what's going on with America, that they see going on with it from right wing perspective, redneck perspective, you know, racist perspective, and you already see them doing it here and there with different policies. They rolling back. They roll back to Roe versus Wade. They roll back affirmative action. Those just are signs. They want to come in and just, you know, even try to go back to before the proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation. Roll back stuff past that, slavery. That's the objective. So let's listen to this right here. Okay, triple.
It's Article 2. More importantly, Article 2 allows me to do whatever I want. Our common theme is to take down the administrative state, the bureaucracy, preparing to march into office and bring a new army of aligned, trained, and essentially weaponized conservatives ready to do battle against the deep state.
For the last 18 months, conservatives from think tanks to former members of the to tenured academics have been working both publicly and privately on a new project. The project's goal: to rescue the country from the grip of the radical left, uniting the conservative movement in the
So getting us out of here, part of it.
American people against elite rule and woke culture warriors. And the stakes are high. According to this group, if we fail, the fight for the very idea of America may be lost. Last month, this group of far-right leaders, known as Project 2025, released a 920-page manifesto titled Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise. In it, the document's 35 different named authors, united and copyrighted by the far-right Heritage Foundation, lay out an explicit, comprehensive plan to completely overhaul the U.S. government from the inside out, with the ultimate goal of furthering far.
Okay, so let's look at that quick before we move forward. This ain't nothing new, like I was saying. They got a whole bunch of scholars together in Alexandria who concocted the New Testament. They got a whole bunch of scholars together, white folks together, and created the Constitution. So this ain't nothing new what they're doing.
Right. wedge issues, and concentrating as much power as possible in the hands of the president. Project 2025 is touted as the ultimate solution to paving the way for the next conservative administration, which they believe will take power in January 2025. While the entire project mimics the same talking points that Trump has harped on throughout his presidency and current campaign, the leaders of this project make clear that the plan is not dependent on a specific person winning the Republican nomination and ultimately the White House. Instead, it's a blueprint for the next conservative executive, whoever they may be, to push the limits of presidential power so far that they will answer to no one, wreaking havoc on the delicate balance of our three branches of government that have allowed us to function as a democracy for nearly 2.5 centuries. This is the conservative plan to take over the country. Roll the intro.
Okay.
Let's go with Corolla.
So now you know what 2025 is. Any more comments on that? Anybody heard of that? Okay. Says, let me see this right here. It says, okay. No, Isaiah 60. Okay, dark. Never. Okay, height. High places. 19. Okay. Okay. So we are bouncing off last night, right? Okay. Okay. Appreciate that information. Okay, so like I was saying, anybody have any comments on the Project 2025? Okay, got some need to know information.
Watch their entire video and actively listen, especially if you're concerned about Project 2025, especially if you are concerned for Black people and trans people, as you should be, because they do a very good job laying out how the right wing and the left wing both serve the same agenda, and that agenda is capitalism, which in the United States was founded upon racism and oppression. So many people are saying, but the Republican Party actively takes away rights and actively harms people, and at least the Democratic Party tries to stop it. No, they don't. They are playing good cop and bad cop. If you support the Democratic Party thinking they are the good guys, that makes you feel that you're doing the right thing, that you can trust them, you're protecting yourself, you're protecting others, and you are fighting against fascism. But they are not. So by all means, support the Democratic Party strategically, but be aware they are not the good guys, they're the good cop.
Every drop of juice can be squeezed out of the fruit by lightly pressing.
Valid fear.
Black people, do you have this fear? It's definitely something I've thought about, because there is half the country that's very vocal that they want things to go backwards. They want to go back to 1776. They want to go back to 1950. And I've had the thoughts myself of, like, what if they started taking away rights? Like, we've already lost Roe v. Wade. We've lost affirmative action. You know, could it just keep going? And I don't know about y'all, but I think I'm going to make a horrible slave. Like, I don't picture myself resigning to it. Like, they're just going to have to murder me. They're just going to have to murder me, because I just can't picture myself just going along with it. Maybe that sounds naive, but for me, how I think about how our ancestors lived through it, because in the beginning, there were many revolts, like the famous Amistad story. But what ended up happening is generation after generation that's born and raised on a plantation, and then being introduced to the Bible that this is God's way, this is the Christian way. There's even scripture, obey your earthly masters, or obey and fear your masters as you do God. you know, I can understand that there was a certain amount of conditioning that our ancestors might have had, that even if they were miserable in a situation, that's what they were born into, that's what their family was, and couldn't imagine anything different. I can't see Black Americans today being so readily compliant with those efforts to try and take our rights backwards. That's how I feel. So, but I'd love to hear from you if you have that fear, if we did go backwards, continue to lose more rights back into Jim Crow or back into slavery, how would you handle it? Or do you even think it's even a possibility, or just based on where we are, what happened before could never happen again?
This is a valid fear.
Hey, I like your video, but I just want to say, as a Black woman, that's not a valid fear. Your fear should be what happened if they try. Because I can only speak for me. I will burn this place to the ground before I let my kids go into slavery. Your fear should be if they try, and we want revenge instead of reparations. Because if y'all think that BLM caused a ruckus, try that. Please test the waters of the extent that Black people will go through to protect their children. Because me personally, I will burn this place to the ground before I let them take my kids. So I don't think it's a fear that Black people will be put back as slaves, because it's not going to happen.
Okay, so that's the very point right there that I was making, is that that's where the transatlantic, that's where the our exit is coming from. So it's not nothing new. First of all, these people, ever since they brought us here, like you said, when we came in contact with each other, they saw our superiority. They saw the wealth that we had. They saw our physical makeup, our skills, and they was afraid of us. They've been afraid of us ever since. So once they got a bunch of us over here, knowing what they had done and how they had done it, that we had anger. So they was always afraid of that. Then it was always slave revolts, and they always had in the back of their mind, should we have brought these people over here, we need to take them back. So on 3 or 4 different occasions, they didn't try that. Liberia is one of them. They started sending African Americans away from here. Matter of fact, particular ones. They knew there was groups that was coming together, and they didn't know what they was going to do, but they knew that they was afraid of them, so they started shipping them out here. Like I said, Liberia is one. And then that's what Lincoln got killed about. One of the reasons he got killed, because that was one of the resolutions that came up with, that if we was going to free them, we need to send them back. And they was trying to figure out how to do that. And so today, right now, they already see what's happening. So they already got a plan in place. And like I said, this 2025, you got your head screwed on straight. You can see that's part of the plan. Back to what Trump ran on the first time, to make America great again. White folks, you want to go back to white folks ruling. No Black folks ain't, you don't see no Black folks in the government. No Black folks owning shit. That's what they want to go back to. So to do that, they want to get us out of here. That's one of their objectives. Okay. Yeah. So, in comments. So with that being said, open it up for some Q&A of comments or any dialogue before we go into the. Well, I got something else I want to deal with, but anybody got any comments or questions about anything before I play this next video? Then we go into our topic. Who is Zepho? Okay. And what I'm getting ready to play, also play into what's going on with these people's fears of who we are. They're afraid of the prophecies that's on us, all that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Rex 84, King Apple Plan, exactly. That's all it is. It's not something new. You know, they've been had this stuff in place. Right. Okay. So with that being said, here we go. So they see us chopping and beating these scriptures all up and breaking them down and reconnecting pieces of the puzzle that go back where it's supposed to go. And so check it out.
This could be one of the most important messages that has happened in the history of religion, of spirituality, of truth. You want to know why? Because we've been handed down so many lies, so many times over the centuries, and it's intentional, and we will prove it in this video. We're going to be talking about the real New Testament. We're going to get into the background of how do we...
See that right there? See that? I'll let you know they at work. So they say it's a real New Testament. Come on, man. It's a real New Testament.
In all of these current English translations that we have today, and are they something that can be relied on? And what we're going to find out is that we've been misled over and over and over again. But here is the great news. Yahuwah said he's going to pour out his spirit in these last days. He said that he's going to increase knowledge. And what's happened with this knowledge being increased, all the lies, all the distortions, all the darkness that has suppressed the truth for all these centuries is being torn down right before our eyes. And to promote the truth, what we decided to do is say, let's go ahead and take responsibility. Can we, in fact, love Yahuwah with all of our mind, with all of our strength, right? With all of our might, with all of our soul? Can we really love him that way? If we do, he's calling us to go seek him with all of our heart, soul, mind, and all of our strength. And he says, if we do that, if we seek him with all we've got, then...
Let's look at that right quick, man. So this the whole purpose of Prophets of Awakening. And going back over and over, going all the way to the bottom of every story and verse to break it all the way down. So we just read this last night. Okay. I'm in Jeremiah. Okay. 29. So it says in Jeremiah 29, and I will be found of you, said the Lord, and I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations and from all the places where I have driven you, said the Lord, and I will bring you again into the place which I caused you to be carried away. So this dude right here just said that you search in with all your heart and soul, you're going to find Jesus. So let's read it again. 14, I will be found of you, said the Lord. What Lord? The same one in the Old Testament. So he's telling you, you know me from the Old Testament, from all the stories and all the stuff that your forefathers had told you. And I had to cast them off. So in the last days, you're going to find me again. Because I'm going to pour my spirit out. You're going to find me and you're going to call me and I'm going to come. Where the hell is Yahshua in there? The real New Testament. Where the hell is that? Come on.
He will be found. And so as we go back and we look at history, we can see over and over again where the children of Yahuwah, of Israel, son named Israel, they were handed over time and time again to the enemies. Why? Because of their disobedience. And so what's happened because of this rampant disobedience, Yahuwah has allowed the distortions to happen with all these different translations of scriptures. So what we're going to do right here today, we're going to absolutely reveal these truths to you. And a lot of these ways you probably never stopped and thought. But if you really stop and think about what you're about to be shown, I believe you're going to have no other choice but to go, I've got to do something about it. And that requires your support, because we are on the front lines here to promote the truth. We've decided to stop translating the translation of the translation of the translations, grabbing all of these distorted texts, and we decided to launch the Truth Scripture Project, to where we can just take the words in its most original form that can be found. That's either original scriptures or the earliest found scriptures. We have to have a basis of belief. We believe that basis should be scripture, but
so let's look at it. This I told you earlier, you know, they assembled this big mass of 300-400 men concocted the New Testament. Matter of fact, they concocted King Alfred plan. They concocted World War I, World War II, all this stuff. So why in the hell all of a sudden after Blue 9 you want to say you're going all the way back and deal with the this lies and all that? You didn't say that for the last 200-300 years. Long as Christianity was working good and the Israelite wasn't waking up. Now if the Israelite waking up, now you want to say it's lies in the scriptures, and you want to go back and you want to decipher it. You didn't feel no need to do that before we start waking up and breaking this shit down. Now all of a sudden you want to go back. That's a way to suck you in. Just like these Hebrew Christians. All these Hebrew Christian churches popping up everywhere. You can't get sucked into that. Okay?
But it should be accurate scriptures that can be relied on. So if you go back and you study the idioms, that means the ways of life
check them out
of those times when the scriptures were written, then you'll have a great understanding of how they need to be expressed, i.e. translated. So let's go in right now. Here we go. So we start with the Truth Scriptures update. That's really the focus of this entire video, is to show you how we progress in some major decisions we made. A blockbuster announcements coming in this video that we made to get down to the real New Testament. There's a call. As a matter of fact, there's a cry out for a real translation. People are betting and staking and believing their entire eternal lives based on the words that are coming out of Scripture. But what Scripture? So you got to really go ahead and you got to stop taking for it granted when someone hands you a book that you read, where did it come from? Now, the big question is, the Greek New Testament, is it a hoax?
Check him out.
We believe that the great Greek New Testament hoax is here, is alive, is prevalent. All of these versions that you are seeing today in English translations, almost every one of them comes straight from the Greek New Testament writings that was handed down. Now, if you look at the King James, New King James, NIV, Living, Amplified.
Out of Alexandria, Egypt, like I just said. That's what he's talking about.
American Standard, on and on and on and on and on. There's a ton of them. And every one of those have come from the Greek translations, which we'll go into in a second and prove to you where they came from and prove to you that this is a hoax. It's crazy. So we're going to break it down, and that's why we want to really look at and ask some questions today.
Check him out.
Was the New Testament originally written in Greek?
Yeah.
That's the question you got to ask yourself. Because if you go talk to all the scholars, the theologians, these seminaries, there's so many colleges and seminaries that are teaching fervently that the original New Testament was derived from Greek. Now, I'm telling you, and we believe that's a lie. And now the knowledge is being poured out, that's going to be proven. So we say no. And it's easy to prove. No, it's not originally derived from Greek. No, we're putting a stamp on that. We want you to really understand how important that is and how important that you back this project ASAP, because we got to stop the nonsense. We got to ask the questions like, what language did Yahusha and his disciples speak and write in? Look how basic that question is. If we just stop.
We just had a whole weekend on Zubel. They told us Yahusha was in Daniel 9:25. Now all of a sudden, we know he ain't. It was Zerubbabel. But now he's saying that he bringing up Yahusha. That's a dead horse. Okay? But watch this.
And we ask ourselves, what language did Yahusha and his disciples speak and write in? We're going to come to the conclusion ASAP. They spoke in what's called Aramite, aka Aramaic, and Abari, aka Hebrew. Now, how do we know this? We have accounts from historians. We have record, and we have common sense. You know, what was awesome is when Mel Gibson did the movie The Passion of the Christ, he did it in Aramaic. Go watch the movie again. When you see that the movie was produced in Aramaic, they asked Mel Gibson, why did you create that movie in Aramaic? He said, because we went and researched and understood that when Yahusha walked on the earth, Aramaic was the predominant language. Why? Because they had been taken into captivity back in Babylon by the Babylonians. So the original language is Abari, Hebrew. Then they got taken into captivity, and then they got suppressed into speaking primarily Aramaic. And so that was the dominant language of that time.
Okay, so I got a question here. What is anybody know what how you get Aramaic? How did Aramaic come about? Nobody?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Greek. When the Greeks came, third beast. Aramaic is a mix between Greek and Hebrew. See what this nutbug is talking about? So then you go to Yiddish that we're dealing with today, the people that's over in Israel. That's a mixture from those Gentiles and the Hebrew language. That's why he said the pure language is gone. The pure language is gone. So how you gonna like I said, you go to a farm, and then you wake up in the morning to the rooster crowing, and you go outside and it ain't no damn rooster, it's a dog. You're crowing like a rooster. There's something wrong. So how you gonna you got a sun that's hidden from the beginning of the earth, or you say the beginning of creation, you had a sun hidden to come, and the language that the angel speaking is Hebrew. But the son come, he's speaking Aramaic. That's an abomination. Come on. You gonna bring when you bring the son, he ain't speaking the pure language. When he bring us back, he gonna give us the pure language. But the son comes speaking Aramaic, a mutation. And then he talk about this era, whatever it is, language was in Babylon. Them Babylonians. Aramaic is tied to the Greeks.
So they talked in, they read Aramaic, they wrote Aramaic, and then from the scriptures.
This how the Most High get. This how you ain't, the Spirit of the Most High ain't came upon you. You imitating and acting like you a damn Hebrew Israelite. This how he get you right here. Because this is cyborg off of Christianity. First thing you're gonna do is light right on it, like a fly on manure. It's garbage.
Handed down, those scriptures in the Tanakh were written in Abari, in Hebrew. That's why you see us when we do the Truth Scriptures translation, we work from the Codex Leningrad. Why? Because that's the oldest complete Tanakh sign the Old Testament in the world, and then we work forward. So just like they were doing, studying the Tanakh in Hebrew, Abari, guess what? That's what we've done in our translation. But when they were speaking, when they were writing, when they were recording, they were doing it in Aramaic. Now, why is this important? Why is this critical to you? This language issue of between Aramaic, Abari, Hebrew, and Yuani, also known as Greek. Why is this important to you? Well, we'll tell you why it's important to you. Let's go in to the correct translation. This is taken from the truth scriptures, which we've had to work hard of being corrupted, has the incredible intention of Yahweh in it. Family, we got to do something about this, because even at a 1% significant error margin, that means that what you're reading, you got 4,000 words, I should say errors, that could be messing up your eternal life. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because when you compare that to the Aramaic and Hebrew, to the Amorite and the Abari, Aramaic and Hebrew, still are influenced by Judaism, which is Pharisee, Talmud, translation methods. That means vowel points, spellings, and pronunciation. Almost everyone we've looked at. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen one out there. And I got respect how to address the Hebrew.
So who the Pharisees is? Pharisees is after the Greeks came on the scene. Sadducees and Pharisees, all that is when the Greeks came. Like I said, mutations. Lord of hosts in heaven, they don't deal with mutations. That was the whole purpose of the flood. Said it was number one man and his son Shem that was left from Adam's descendants. That's why he brought the flood, to wipe all it out, wipe out all the mutations. That's where we at again now. Bunch of damn mutations.
Hebrews in the language of his country. Some say that the evangelist Luke, okay, that's another, Luca, apostle emissary. Others say that Clement translated the epistle. So it got translated, not from Greek, it got translated into Greek by certain people. The great Greek hoax, we're proving it right here. Epiphanes, historian and bishop of the Catholic Church, 370 CE. They, the Nazarenes, as followers of Yahusha, right? Yahusha of Nazareth. They, Nazarenes, having the gospel according to Matthew quite complete.
Yeah, so anyway, you want to go in there and dissect that? It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's our Truth Scriptures Update, the real New Testament. Okay, you're going to check that out. You find it interesting. Okay. Any comments or questions on that before I start reading?
Shalom. They're setting the stage, and as the play goes on, so that's what they're doing right now with this gentleman talking, for someone to try to connect the dots of on the wrong side of what's really going on.
Okay. Anybody else?
Shalom, Brother Leonard. He kept mentioning the word scholar. Again, he's giving these people a certain title as though we are supposed to be wowed by that. And because he's saying scholar, we're supposed to follow what they are doing, right? So knowing that he is considering himself a scholar also, because he's thinking he's come up with a plan to say, oh, let me really tell you about this New Testament. You know, I don't figure it out. I'm this scholar. You know what I'm saying? You don't see Allah and all those names in the Old Testament that they mentioning.
Right. Exactly. And then not only that, like I said, it's a problem because the Israelites are waking up and they leaving the church, and it's because of the New Testament. So now they trying to come up with this. Like I said, all of a sudden now you got all this new evidence and trying to call yourself agreeing with what's being said about the New Testament, but you're going to say it's a real one. It's a real New Testament. No, hell no. Like I said, anytime you try to bring Yahushua on the scene, you sticking your foot in your mouth. Because he a dead horse. Okay? Is that something?
Yes, it is.
Right. That's what you see happening so much. You bring the truth. The truth is so overwhelming, but they go back and then gonna find another way to make an idol to try to make him God. When we in that season, Most High showing him for what he was. Just like we was in a season when he made him he recompensed it on our head. And we loved the hell out of him. But now we're in a different season. And he's shining the light on him. You can't take that light off of him because it's hammer time. Okay? So, with that being said, I'm in the book of Joshua, right? I'm shining the light on Zepho. Okay? And a lot of this stuff is not known. You know, like I said, these people they didn't left stuff out intentionally to keep us, they have us in the dark. So if you don't know who Zepho is, let me go to it real quick. Then I'm gonna go and start reading. You go to Genesis 36. Okay, it's the lineage of Esau. Okay, so like I said, he said that when those two boys was born, Abraham told Rebecca that there's two different manner of people in your womb. So say, what you talking about? How can one man have two different manner of people unless it's two men? Just like Cain and Abel, they're two different daddies. So it says, now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took wives of the daughters of the Canaanites. So it's already a problem right there. Edom married Canaanite women, giant women. And Ada, the daughter of Elam the Hittite, and Ahumah, the daughter of Anak, the daughter of Zebulun the Hivite. So these giant women. And then we see that in chapter 11, verse 11, chapter 36, the son of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, and Gadim, and Kenaz. So Zepho is out of Esau's lineage. And he's one of these, he's a mighty man. Just like Amalek, just like Teman. Okay, so that's who Zepho is. But just the thing about it, so many people don't really know. You know, they read scripture, but when they get to lineages, they kind of read over. They don't get the gist of what's going on. The reason those lineages are mentioned. So I'm in chapter 60. I'm in 59, and I'm gonna read 26, 27, 28 just to lead up to chapter 60. It says Joseph was 110 years old when he died, right, in the land of Egypt. And all his brethren and all his servants rose up and they embalmed Joseph, as was their custom. And his brethren and all Egypt mourned over him for 70 days. And they put Joseph in a coffin filled with spices and all sorts of perfume, and they buried him by the side of the river, that is Sihor, and his sons and all his brethren and the whole of his father's household made a 7 days journey, made a 7 days mourning for him. And it came to pass after the death of Joseph, all Egyptians began in those days to rule over the children of Israel. And Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who reigned in his father's stead, took all laws of Egypt and conducted the whole government of Egypt under his counsel, and he reigned securely over his people. So here we go. So Joseph just died. Is the point. The reason I read that Joseph just died, right? It says, and when the year came round, a year later, being the 72 years from the Israelites going down into Egypt after the death of Joseph, Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, fled from Egypt. He and his men, and they went away, right? And he came to Africa, which is in Dinaba, to Angus, king of Africa. And Angus received them with great honor, and he made Zepho captain of his host. So he made Zepho a mighty man. So he made Zepho Lord of hosts. He made Zepho Lord of hosts in Africa. Okay. So Zepho found favor in the sight of Angus and in the sight of his people. And Zepho was captain of the host of Angus, king of Africa, for many days. Zepho enticed Angus, king of Africa, to collect all his army to go and fight with the Egyptians and with the sons of Jacob, and to avenge them the cause of his brethren. Okay, so let's look at that right there. So to make this plain. So we already know Esau taught all his sons, his grandsons, this hatred that's in Daniel, that's in Ezekiel 35, that the Most High talking about. So he got this perpetual hatred that's been passed down from one generation to another to today. So you see right here, Zepho, once he got over there and got in a position of authority with the king of Africa, he asked them to go and fight against the Israelites. He said, well, what you talking about? Well, the Greeks. I told you the Greeks is out of Japhet, but the Zepho right here, he left this place and he ended up over in Greece. Just like he fled from here, fled from Africa, fled from Egypt, and he went to Angus. He fled from there and he went to Greece. So the head over the Greece is Edomites. Zepho, Alexander the Great, is Zepho's grandson. So guess what? Alexander, that same hatred what brought Alexander to the Middle East. They ain't just going up. They not just going to the Middle East on accident. That hatred that they have for the Israel is bringing them there. That's what brought them to the West Coast. Okay, so it says, 4, Zepho enticed Angus of Africa to collect all his army and go and fight with the Egyptians and with the sons of Jacob, and to avenge them the cause of his brethren, right? But Angus would not listen to Zepho to do this thing. But Angus knew the strength of the sons of Jacob and what they had done in their warfare with the children of Esau. And Zepho was, in those days, very great. Let's deal with something right here, because this is important. Let me shine a light on it. So it says, so Zepho trying to entice him to go fight against the Israelites, right? It said 5. But Angus would not listen to Zepho to do this thing, right? For Angus, look at this. This is what you got to go research. For Angus knew the strength of the sons of Jacob. Well, you got to ask yourself how he knew that, right? And what they had done to his army in their warfare with the children of Esau. So he said he knew the strength of the sons of Jacob, right? Well, let's go to Josiah right here. I mentioned this before, but I want to shine another light on it. So we in get it. I'm thinking it's 2 Kings. Yeah. Let me get it. Yeah, 2 Kings. So here we go. 2 Kings. Yeah, 2 Kings. I mean, 2 Kings chapter 23, starting at verse 28. This is when Josiah went up to fight against the king of Egypt, right? It says, now the rest of the acts of Josiah and all that he did, are they not written in the books of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? In his days, here we go. In his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates, right? Okay. Okay. It says, in the days of Pharaoh Necho of Egypt went up against king of Assyria to the river Euphrates, and the king Josiah went up against him, and he slew him at Megiddo, and his servants were at hand. Let me go back to another version of that in Chronicles. 2 Chronicles, I think it is. Yeah. Second Chronicles. Yeah. 2 Chronicles. So it says right here. 2 Chronicles. Yeah, here you go. 2 Chronicles 35 and 20. And after all this, when Josiah had prepared a temple, Necho, king of Egypt, came up to fight against Carchemish by the Euphrates, and Josiah went out against him. But he sent ambassadors to him. So this king of Egypt sent ambassadors to Josiah, right, saying, what have I to do with thee, thou king of Judah? I come not against thee this day, but against the house wherewith I have war. Now check it out. For God, right? That's when you understand what's going on. That's the Lord of hosts. So he says, for the Lord of hosts commanded me to make haste. So he told Josiah, he's the apple of the Most High eye, right? Judah, the apple of his eye. So he says, for God commanded me, Lord of hosts commanded me, to make haste, forbear thee from meddling with God, from meddling with the Lord of hosts. He is with me, that he destroy thee not. Nevertheless, Josiah would not turn his face from him, but disguise himself, that he might fight with him, and hearken not unto the words of Necho from the mouth of the Lord of hosts. And he came to fight with him. This is how Josiah got killed. The man already told him, your God, the Lord of hosts, the one sent me down here, told me to make haste to go fight this king. And they ain't got nothing to do with you. So my point is this, they knew the Lord of hosts. These people had a connection with the Lord of hosts. It goes back to when he says, well, people not rightly dividing, when it says in the laws about the stranger. You know, so you say, what stranger? You had Hebrews up until Jacob had the 12 sons. And so Jacob, by Jacob's name being changed to Israel, which means he who strives with a maker, who strives with God, strive with the Lord of hosts. So then you got Israelites, but you got people before that was Hebrews. So when they built the temple and all that, these people had a right to the temple too. That's why it says you got a stranger that can come, and he only can come into the inner court. But you got a stranger that can come there. He got all the rights as a Hebrew Israelite guy. He was in the temple. So the Lord of hosts dealing with them too. They belong to him. So the guy told him, your God, the same God, the same Lord of hosts that was with David, the same one that came in the cool of the day to talk to Adam. He told me to come down here It just ain't got nothing to do with you. But he ain't listen. That's what got him killed. Okay. So anyway, I'm back over here in chapter 60 of Joshua, right? It says, 6. And Zepho was in those days very great in the sight of Angus and in the sight of all his people. And he continued to entice them to make war with Egypt, but they would not. And it came to pass in those days, there was in the land of Checham a man in the city of Prazima, I guess that's the name, whose name was Uzzah, and he became degenerately deified by the children of Checham. And the man died and had no son, only one daughter whose name was Jana. And the damsel was exceedingly beautiful, comely, and intelligent. And there was none seen like unto her for beauty and wisdom throughout the land. And the people of Angus, king of Africa, saw her, and they came and praised her unto him. And Angus sent to the children of Checham, okay, let me see, to the children of Checham, and they requested to take her unto himself for a wife. And the people of Checham consented to give her unto him for a wife. And when the messengers of Angus were going forth from the land of Checham to take their journey, behold, the messenger of Thomas, king of Betina, came unto Checham. For Thomas, king of I can't say that word, Bid also sent his messengers to request Janus for him to take unto him for a wife. For all his men had also praised her to him, therefore he sent all his servants unto her. So what we're looking at right here, this is the same thing that happened in Troy with the Trojan horse. So anyway, it says, the servant of Turnus came to Checham, and they asked for Jana to be taken unto Turnus, king of for a wife. And the people of Checham said unto them, we cannot give her, because Angus, king of Africa, desires her to take her unto him for a wife before you came, and that we should give her unto him. And now therefore we cannot do this thing to deprive Angus of the damsel in order to give her unto Turnus. For we are greatly afraid of Angus, lest he come in battle against us and destroy us, and Turnus your master will not be able to deliver us from his hand. And when the messengers of Turnus heard all the words of the children of Checham, they turned back to their master and told him all the words of the children of Checham. And the children of Checham sent, a memorial to Angus, saying, behold, Turnus has sent for Janus to take her unto him for a wife. And thus have we answered him when we heard that he has collected his whole army to go to war against thee, and he intends to pass by the road of Sardonia to fight against thy brethren Lucas, and after that he will come to fight against thee. And Angus heard the words of the children of Checham, which they sent to him in the record, and his anger was kindled, and he rose up and assembled his whole army, and came through the isles of the sea, and the road to Sidon unto his brethren Lucas, king of Sidon. And Nebos, the son of Lucas, heard this, that his uncle Anus was coming, and he went out to meet him with a heavy army, and he kissed him and embraced him. And Nebos said unto Angus, when thou askest my father after his welfare, when shall I go with thee to fight with Turnus? Ask of him to make me captain of his host. And Angus did so, and he came unto his brethren, and his brother came to meet him, and he asked him after his welfare. And Angus asked his brother Lucas after his welfare to make his son Neblos captain of his host. And Lucas did so. And Angus and his brother Lucas rose up, and they went toward Turnus to battle. And there was with them a great army and a heavy people. And he came in ships, and they came into the province of Asher, and behold, Turnus came toward them, and he went forth to Sidonia, and intended to destroy it, and afterwards to pass on from there to Angus to fight with him. And Angus and Lucas, his brethren, met Turnus in the valley of Canopia, and the battle was strong and mighty between them in that place. And the battle was severe upon Lucas, king of Sidonia, and all his army fled. And Nebuchadnezzar and his sons fell also in that battle. And his uncle Angus commanded his servants, and they made a golden coffin for Nebuchadnezzar, and they put him into it. And Angus again waged battle toward Turnus, and Angus was stronger than he, and he slew him, and he smote all the people with the edge of the sword. And Angus avenged the cause of Nebuchadnezzar, his brother's son, and the cause of the army of his brother Lucas. And when Turnus died, the hands of those that survived the battle became weak, and they fled from before Angus and Lucas, his brother. And Angus and his brother Lucas, pursued them until the high road, which is in between, I can't say that word, Aphanania and Roma, and they slew the whole army of Turnus with the edge of a sword. And Lucas, king of Sidonia, commanded his servants that they should make a coffin of brass, and they should place therein the body of his son Nebuchadnezzar, and they buried him in that place. And they built upon it a high tower there upon the high road. They called his name after the name of Nebuchadnezzar unto this day. And they also buried Turnus, king of Byzantium, there in that place with Nebuchadnezzar. And behold, upon the high road between Aphonia and Ramah, the grave of Nebuchadnezzar is on one side, and the grave of Turnus on the other, and a pavement between them unto this day. And when Nebuchadnezzar was buried, Lucas, his father, returned with his army to his land of Sidonia, and Angus, his brother, king of Africa, went with his people into the city of Bentu, that is the city of Turnus. And the inhabitants of Bentu heard of his fame, and they were greatly afraid of him, and they went forth to meet him with weeping and supplication. And the inhabitants of Bentu entered, entreated Angus not to slay them nor destroy their city, and he did so. For Bentu was in those days reckoned as one of the cities of the children of Chechen. Therefore, he did not destroy the city. But from that day forward, the troops of King of Africa would go to Chechen to spoil and plunder it. And whenever they went, Zepho, the captain of hosts of Angus, would go with them. And it was at this that Angus turned with his army, and they came to the city of Pazina, and Angus took thence Janet, the daughter of Uzzah, for a wife, and brought her unto his city, unto Africa. So that was Joshua chapter 6. Any comments so far? I'm going to read one more chapter. Any comments? Okay, I'm in chapter 61. It says, and it came to pass at that time the Pharaoh king of Egypt commanded all his people to make for him a strong palace in Egypt. And he also commanded the sons of Jacob to assist the Egyptians in building, and the Egyptians made a beautiful and elegant palace for a royal habitation, for he dwelt therein, and he renewed his government, and he reigned secure. And Zebulun, the son of Jacob, died in that year, that is the 72nd year of the going down of the Israelites to Egypt. And Zebulun died 114 years old, and was put into the coffin and given into the hands of his children. And in the 70th year died his brother Simeon. He was 120 years old at his death, and he was also put into a coffin and given into the hands of his children. And Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, the son of Esau, captain of the host of Angus, king of Dinadab, was still daily enticing Angus to prepare for battle to fight with the sons of Jacob in Egypt. And Angus was unwilling to do this thing, for his servants had related to him all the might of the sons of Jacob, what they had done unto them in their battles with the children of Esau. And Zepho was in those days daily enticing Angus to fight with the sons of Jacob in those days. And after some time, Angus hearkened to the words of Zepho and consented to him to fight with the sons of Jacob in Egypt. And Angus got all his people in order, a people numerous as the sands which are upon the seashore, and he formed his solution to go to, he formed his resolution to go to Egypt for battle. Okay? And among the servants of Angus was a youthful teen, was a youth, 15 years old, Balaam, son of Beor was his name, and the youth was very wise and understood the art of witchcraft. And Angus said unto Balaam, conjure forth us, I pray thee, with witchcraft, that we may know who will prevail in this battle through which we are now proceeding. And Balaam ordered that they should bring him wax, and he made thereof the likeness of a chariot and a horseman, presenting the army of Angus and the army of Egypt. And he put them in cunning, and he put them in the cunningly prepared waters that he had for that purpose. And he took his hand and the boughs of a myrtle tree, and he exercised his cunning, and he joined them over the water. And there appeared unto him in the waters the resembling image of the host of Angus, falling before the resembling images of the Egyptians and the sons of Jacob. And Balaam told this thing to Angus, and Angus despaired and did not arm himself to go down to Egypt to battle. He remained in his city. And when Zepho, the son of Eliphaz, saw that Angus despaired of going forth to battle with the Egyptians, Zepho fled from Angus from Africa, and he went to and came to Checham. So here you go right here. This the Romans. This how Alexander came on the scene. This is granddaddy. And all the people of Checham received him with great honor, and they hired him to fight their battles all the days. And Zepho became exceedingly rich in those days, and the troops of the king of Africa still spread themselves in those days, and the children of Checham assembled and went to Mount on account of the troops of Angus, king of Africa, who were advancing upon them. And it was one day that Zepho lost a young heifer, and he went to seek it, and he heard it blowing round about the mountain. And Zepho went and saw, and behold, there was a large cave at the bottom of the mountain, and there was a great stone there at the entrance of the cave. And Zepho split the stone, and he came into the cave, and he looked, and behold, a large animal was devouring an ox. From the middle upward, it resembled a man, and from the middle downward, it resembled an animal. And Zepho rose up against the animal and slew it with his sword. And the inhabitants of Checham heard of this thing, and they rejoiced exceedingly. And they said, what shall we do unto this man who has slain this animal that devoureth our cattle? And they all assembled to consecrate one day in that year to him, and they called him the name thereof Zepho after his name. And they brought him unto him drink offerings year after year on that day, and they brought unto him gifts. And at that time, Jaina, the daughter of Uzzah, wife of King Angus, became ill, and her illness was heavily felt by Angus and his officers. And Amos said unto his wives, why should I do to Janus, and how shall okay, how shall I heal her from her illness? And his wise men said unto him, because the air of our country is not like the air of the land of Chechen, and our water is not like their water. Therefore, from this, as the queen became ill, for through the change of air and the water, she became ill, and also because of her country, she drank only the water which came from Perma, which her ancestors had brought up with bridges. And Angus commanded his servants, and they brought up unto him in vessels of water of Pearl belonging to Chechen, and they waged those waters with all the waters of the land of Africa, and they found those waters lighter than the waters of Africa. Okay, and Angus saw this thing, and he commanded all his officers to assemble the hewers of stone in thousands and 10,000s, and they hewed stones without number. And the builders came, and they built an exceedingly strong bridge, and they conveyed the springs of water from the land of Chechem under Africa. And those waters were for Jana, queen, and for all her concerns, to drink from and to bake, wash, and bathe therewith, and also to water therewith all the seeds from which the food can be obtained, and all fruit of the ground. And the king commanded that they should bring all the soil of Chechen in large ships, and they also brought stones to build therewith, and the builder built palaces for the Jaina queen, and the queen became healed of her illness. And the revolution of the years, the troops of Africa continued coming to the land of Chechen to plunder as usual. And Zepho, son of Eliphaz, heard their report, and he gave their orders concerning them, and he fought with them, and they fled before him, and he delivered the land of Chechen from them. And the children of Chechen saw the valor of Zepho, and the children of Chechen resolved, and they made Zepho king over them, and he became king over them. And while he reigned, they went to subdue the children of Tubal and all the surrounding islands. And the king Zepho went at their head, and they made war with Tubal and the islands, and they subdued them. And when they had restored from battle, they renewed his government for him, and they built for him a very large place for his royal habitation, and a seat, and they made a large throne for him. Zepho reigned over the whole land of Chechen. Okay, let's say, and Zepho reigned over the whole land of Chechen and over the land of Italia 50 years. So this is where the merger came in at. Zepho was the architect behind the Romans and the Italians and the Edomites coming together as one nation. That's how you get Edom. So in so many words, Zepho is the father of Edom. Okay, son of Esau. Okay, any comments on that? Anybody have any questions or comments? Oh, what I read? Okay, everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If nobody have no comments, we're gonna close it out. Okay. Let's say shalom, and I'll see y'all this evening to close the Sabbath out at 6 o'clock. Shalom.
Shalom and shalom.
Shalom.